Welcome everyone to Stafford Speedway. Tonight, it's the limited late models biggest event of the year, the Riley Generators Limited Late Model 30. So we're focusing this pit preview in the limited late model, starting off with our point leader.
The first week back, it was pretty good. We kind of missed the setup a little bit in that feature, but in practice it had showed speed, the heat race it had showed speed, and then we got into that jingle, and it moved the horns back the other direction from the accident a couple weeks prior. So, we were fighting that the past couple weeks. We finally got it right this week, got it right back to where it was. So I'm hoping with fresher tires on it this week, we'll go out there and contend for a win.
Last year's 30-lapper was a wild one. What are you expecting this time around?
Oh, it's always wild every time we hit the track. Recently, I mean, we were going green to checker pretty regularly. The last couple weeks have been a little bit more hectic, but 30 laps, guys get excited. Hopefully we can keep the nose clean the first 15, 20 laps and then be up there battling for the win at the end.
How easy do you take it early on?
How easy should I take it early on? I should cruise around out there, like perfect example of Jeremy last year. He just cruised around. Meanwhile, I was making my way to the front, then going right back to the back, to the front, back to the back. So, the first 20 laps or so, I'd like to take it easy. But if you're sitting 6th, 7th, 8th in 20 laps in, that's fine. But then you need a caution. Because we've been so even on speed with everybody in the top 10 here that, if you're sitting 6th or 7th with 10 to go, you really need to get going, and you're going to need a caution to help you out. So we'll play it by ear. We'll see how the car feels, and if we need to get aggressive early to be up there in front of the mayhem, we'll do that.
I think it's really just momentum. After we got the first win this year, we had a little bit of a downward swing with the motor, and then a couple bad finishes after that. We worked on the car, we got it to where we wanted it to be. In the last few races, we really had something. Last week was interesting. I think I started in the back, 3 times. So we know we have a good car. It's just about executing and being able to make the right moves at the right time.
How do you prepare for 30 laps instead of 20?
It's really not much different. Just make a couple setup changes so that way the car doesn't fade off towards the end. Just make sure there's extra gas, and it's not much different. It's just more a mindset thing, I think. And some people just burn up their stuff in the beginning, and I'm going to try to be a little bit more cautious in the beginning to save something for the end.
I was about to say, do you have to save more for the end because of how tight this competition is?
Yes and no, because you want to be out front early so that way once everything all levels out, you're in the position where you want to be. So you don't want to save too much in the beginning, so you want to have a nice balance where you're up towards the front, but you don't want to kill your car so that way you fall off at the end.
The car was good for the first half of the race. We don't really have an outside groove for our tires. I know the other divisions do. You get hung out real quick in the limiteds if you get caught on the outside. And we were lacking a little bit of drive coming out of 4. We got beat a couple times on restarts in the drag race. So we spent an awful lot of time over the weekend and even this morning working on this car, and we feel as though we found some drive out of 4. And we found a couple other things, so we should be good. We should be good tonight. That's our plan.
How do you prepare for 30 laps instead of 20?
Nothing really different. Just, it's probably going to be fairly warm, so hydrate and just focus on running a good race and not worry about the extra. I mean, come on, it's only 10 extra laps, but, it's not like we're doing 500 at Bristol here. But it's definitely different. It's definitely different. You can't overheat the right rear. Your car will fall off on you if you send it too hard. The first 20, you're not going to have anything left for the last 10. So you kind of gotta pace yourself, but keep yourself in the top 5 and hopefully have a good 6 or 7 to the finish.
The competition's really close and really hard.
We were just talking to him.
Yeah, I can tell. He's all excited. No, the competition's really hard. Just 10 people out here that can win at any given time. We're so close in times. This is the most competitive division that I know of right now as we speak, and how much I've driven in this limited class this is the hardest year it's been to even get a win. So to be up front and running good, that's where you got to be for this division now.
You had a good run last week. What more do you need for 30 laps tonight?
For the right front shock to stay on. It broke last week, about 5 laps to go, and there was no way I could catch Cormier. I started getting a run on him after 1 caution, but too many cautions, and then the right front shock bolt broke, and it snapped in half, so it made it a little harder to drive at the end, but we got it done.
Win, 3rd place last week, great momentum going into our biggest race of the year. Today I'm gonna have to be patient because I'm pretty sure I'm starting in the north parking lot today. So we just gotta be patient. We got 10 extra laps to make it forward, and hopefully we end up number 1.
We've seen you in the front, we've seen you in the middle of the pack. What is it like in this field with how tight everybody is?
Difficult. You forgot the back. I've been there a couple times.
I didn't want to say that.
No, it's this field's tough. If you look at the times during practice, we're all half a tenth the top 8. And if you're having an off night, that could be the difference between a podium and 12th place in our division. Like everyone's talked about for the last 10 weeks, it's a silent competition. No one's really said anything about it, but we all know it's a competition. I mean, it would be awesome. I think the goal is for all of us to come here and win every week and be the champion at the end of the year. I don't really look at points. I look at the wins, Most of the time, most wins win the championship, unless you look at the street stocks this year, and that's a different story. But I would really like to be the first repeat winner after the season we had last year, and turning it completely around this year, I think, would be pretty cool.
I think we're definitely in way better shape than we were last year. It just kind of sucks with all the rain. It just takes all the rubber off the track, so it's really hard to gauge what the...
He also video bombed another interview, so it's not the first time.
Yeah, it's okay. It's hard to get a feel for the car, so you're trying to adjust. The track is taking rubber, so the car changes. Then you got to change the bar and stuff like that. So you got to keep up with it. It's just, you're always chasing it.
Now, you got 30 laps tonight. Do you think the extra 10 laps helps you for your driving style, or do you think it helps other people?
Definitely helps us.
Why is that?
The car is good on the long run.
How do you think it's going to be tonight? Last year's 30 lapper was wild. How do you think it's going to be this season?
Who's your daddy?
This competition this year stands pretty high. I mean, it's probably the most competitive this division's been. I know it was really competitive back in the day when I started. The Saunders brothers, Austin Bassett, Justin Brand, Dwayne Provost. I mean, those guys are pretty stout and they got a lot of wins here. So, but yeah, no, for nine winners in 9 weeks is pretty amazing. Hopefully I'll be the 10th this week. And, try to back it up from last year's win on the 30 lapper. And got a pretty good car. We had a really good car last week. Got, cut short in lap 2, but we're excited for this week to put some new tires on it and see if we can't go run 30 laps and lead the last one.
I was going to say, during the season, we've seen you run 4th. We've seen you run 6th a couple times. What has the struggle been this season, if there has been any?
Yeah, we've, we started going to Bob Phil this year. We wanted to try something a little different, and we've just been working with him, trying to get the handles right on the car the way, he wants to set up the car and the way I like the feel of the car. So, we've been working on it, and we've got it really close right now. So, hopefully the weather cooperates tonight, and we can go out there, and we got a fast car.
I cannot remember the last time you had 2 DNFs in one season. How do you try to shake off a rough night or a couple rough nights over the last month?
We just can't, don't bury our heads in the sand. We know we got a fast car. It happens. For us, when it happens to us, it doesn't feel right. Doesn't really happen to us a lot in the past couple years. So, I don't remember the last time I watched 2 races from the infield, almost a couple, back-to-back weeks almost. So, frustrating, but, new week is here and, car's back together, so.
It's going a lot better than I expected. A little bit nerve-wracking at times. But overall, I have no complaints. Top 10 every week, even though I missed the first one. Car's driving good. I got Rich, RJ to lean on for advice. Rob Russell's doing great, and I really can't complain otherwise.
Now you have finished top 10 in all 8 of your starts. What's the key to finishing up their top 10? Because a lot of drivers haven't had that luxury.
I'm trying to be as consistent as I can, as smooth as I can, and just keep my nose clean. Other than that, I'm just driving my butt off.
How is it going to be different tonight for 30 laps, if at all?
It's not. I'm just be smooth, be clean, and we'll see what happens.
Car's been very fast every week, near the top of the charts. Practice, heat racing, and feature. Just everybody's so damn tough to pass here. We're all within tenths of each other, so it makes it difficult in the feature to get around cars.
Now you got 30 laps. What are you expecting tonight?
Hoping to be on the podium. That's what I'm hoping for. I think we can get it done. We've had a good car every week, and just got to try and stay out of trouble and use your head, not race with your emotions.
Well, I was going to mention last year the 30 lapper was crazy. A lot happened in that one. Do you take it easy early on, or do you have the same approach?
All depends where I start. You know, if you start deep in the pack, you're gonna have to kind of be aggressive up front. You know, towards the front, you might be able to wait it out a little bit and save something for the end.
Well, it's been a tough learning curve. This car's been, I'd say, a devil to us. We've had everything wrong with this car. First couple weeks, didn't even start. Couldn't do a heat race, couldn't do a race. Just last week, this car almost didn't make it on the track. The starter went on this car, and we luckily had a truck come and push us onto the track. But it's hard getting this car to, work for us. But once this car works, it seems to do really good. You know, a couple weeks back, we got our first win, and that's huge momentum. You know, working towards getting top 5s, top 3s, stuff like that, and that's really what I've been working for. That's about it.
What more do you need to get back in the top 5 for this race, the 30 lapper?
I'd say just keep my nose clean. I've seen them been getting caught up in stuff like that. Just someone comes across and something happens. Not really my fault. Sometimes it's not even theirs. Stuff just happens, but keeping my nose clean will definitely keep me up there.
Car's good. Team's good. We're fighting some bugs with the brakes a little bit even still. But we got it to the point where it's very competitive, obviously, and we're going to continue to work at it till we can be even better than we are now.
You won last week. You got 30 laps to work with tonight. How do you think it's going to be racing against possibly 20 limited late models for an extra distance event?
First off, 20 limited late models is an amazing field for here. But I think we're going to fare all right, even if we start towards the back. It's plenty of time to get up there and have a shot at this.
Do you change your approach? Do you take it easy, or do you still go aggressive?
I go as aggressive as I usually do, but with the 30 laps, I can tone it back a little bit and if I have to and save some tire. But with the 30 lapper on these cars aren't too difficult on tire, so I think we'll be all right.
Well, there you have it. You've heard from half of our limited late model competitors as they prepare for the Riley Generators Limited Late Model 30. And Ben Dodge is on the call for it all.
Well, it's another great night of racing here at the Half Mile, the Riley's Generator Limited Late Model event, a banner field, and interestingly enough, as we had the opportunity to meet and greet some of the cars and the drivers in the limited late models, their strategy seems to be pretty much the same. The distance, well, they say it is not much difference than a regular 20-lap event. But right now, our first of the qualifying rounds come rumbling onto the racetrack. Street stock qualifying, event number 1. The story will be 5 laps with 5 cars to transfer. And the man alongside for this evening's presentation, Bonza Tufa, with the starting lineup.
Thank you, Ben. Starting on the pole for the first heat of the night is the Rico Pizza LaJoy's Auto Wrecking 71. The driver is from Stamford, Connecticut. The driver is Marvin Minkler.
Outside, row number 1, the American Sign, number 84. From Ellington, Connecticut, Bert Ouellette.
Starting third is the Dustbusters Duck Cleaning 15. From Ware, Massachusetts, Sean Petlock.
Outside, row number 2, the Tri-State Equipment Repair Machine. From Somers, Connecticut, car 21, Jason Lafayette.
Inside of row 3 is the JHS Restoration number 80 from East Hartford, Connecticut. A winner this year, Tyler Trott.
In the 6th starting position, he's one of the big dogs. The PJ Ladola and Sons Electrical Contractors Machine. JRT Motorsports from Barkhamsted, Connecticut, car number 42, Travis Downey.
And rounding out the 7-car field is the rookie in car number 2 from Griswold, Connecticut. Planchin Management Solutions gives us Ashton Young.
Well, with the sun shining above us, we are ready to begin. First of the qualifying events, the field is told to cross over the Riley's Generator, official sponsors for tonight's event as they salute the limited late model feature event of 30 laps. And it's going to be a night to remember. After hearing all of the words from the drivers in the majority of that division, pretty much their strategy is about to be the same.
And check out the pace truck. It's the Riley Generators pace truck. Dan Riley Jr. bringing the truck over, and it's pacing the field today.
Sure is, and that's a plus for us. And, of course, we are a proud part of the Napa program. Your local Napa Auto Parts stores welcomes you, the race fans. Remember, Napa Auto Care, convenience stores located out and about, and of course, one of our premium stores in Tallinn, Connecticut. Green flag is out. They are side by side to the bottom of turn number 1. 2x2 is the story in the front 2 rows, but Marvin Minkler has a slight advantage. Bonds it down in turn 3.
He has the lead. Willett gets in line in second spot. Sean Petlock takes third. Jason Lafayette is stuck on the outside. He is side by side with Trott in the battle for fourth. Top 5 qualify for the handicap. It's only a 5-lap heat race, and we've already completed the first lap.
We sure have Tyler Trott sitting in that 5th position with car number 80. Meanwhile, here comes a bit now also working his magic in coming towards the front of the field is the number 42 machine. Back up front as they rumble back to the line. Good racing action for that 4th and 5th position.
Downey actually slid up into Lafayette, got a little bit sideways, but he completes the pass in turn 2 and moves up to 5th. So Lafayette falls outside the top 5, outside the handicap. He's going to have to find a way to claw his way back towards the top 5 if he wants to have a good starting spot.
Single file, they work their magic off the turn. Marvin Minkler leads the parade. Battle is now a battle for the 3rd position. All of a sudden, Tyler Trott, car number 80, tries to make the move to the inside. Directly behind him, it is Travis Downey. Downey makes the move, follows him through. It is car number 80. Tyler Trott to move into 3rd. Now, all of a sudden, Travis Downey is in the comfort zone, but the battle is for 5th with a half-mile left in the competition here.
Lafayette has a chance now to get in the top 5 because Petlock got shuffled on the outside. The 15 car is not sticking to the bottom. He falls back to 6th. Lafayette up to 5th, while Minkler leads the way with 2 turns to go.
No question about it. Marvin Minkler, who's had an up-and-down season, nice guy, will win the first qualifying round of the night. Bertolette will finish in 2nd. Tyler Trott to finish in the 3rd spot. Travis Downey to finish in 4th. And the final handicap position goes to car number 21 for Jason Lafayette. Bonza 2 competitors will not make it in the handicap.
Sean Petlock finishing 6th and Ashton Young finishing 7th. I know it's just a heat race, but this is basically a victory for Marvin Minkler with how this year has gone. I mean, he's had zero luck getting caught up in other people's messes, having car problems. Just going through 5 laps and winning the heat is a big step forward for the 20-lap feature tonight.
Certainly is, and he's very deserving. Truly one of the nice guys in the paddock area. Round number 2, the story is 5 laps, 5 cars to transfer. Car number 94, it's a rent-a-race car machine from Goshen, Connecticut. It is a 94 of Chris Danielchuk.
Then it's the Tech Roofing SK Property Maintenance number 55 starting in 2nd. From Chicopee, Massachusetts, it's Brandon Warren.
Row number 2 to the inside, car number 49. The Barn Package Store machine from Summers, Connecticut, Jason Raymond.
Outside of row 2 from Granby, Massachusetts, in the Safeco Foam Dryer Vent Cleaning Company number 7, it's Jeff Aslin.
This is the big winner this season, the Hydar Construction Company number 11 from Woodbury, Connecticut, car number 11 for Travis Hydar.
Then it's the Pro Coat Paint number 66 from Cranston, Rhode Island, starting in 6th, Nick Ulrich.
And starting in scratch will be the Roy's Auto Service Vanished Valley Brewing Company car from Belchertown, Massachusetts, car number 69 for Bill Cody. That's your starting lineup, round number 2. About to, well, double them up and go to green behind the Riley's Generator Limited Late Model sponsors of tonight, the good folks at Riley's Generator. Field is crossing over. Quickly moving to the outside of Danielchuk is the Brandon Warren machine.
Yeah, Warren's car was tore up last Friday, getting caught up in a late race pileup in turn 1. Finished 16th. He's had a car that's been running up in the 5th, 6th, 7th spot throughout the season. He has a career best 4th as well. With the car put back together, if Warren can get some luck, he can be back up there battling in the top 5.
Certainly is. Car 66 takes its position in the 6th position for Nick Ulrich. Let's see what's going to happen, as it looks like we're going to see our Riley's Generator pace truck pull to the center of the infield. Off turn number 4, get ready. This is the 2nd qualifier. Following the conclusion of this, the late models come rolling onto the racetrack. Start off turn number 4, Danielchuk side by side in a bid with Brandon Warren. Warren in the outside lane. They're evenly matched as they come off turn number 2. Danielchuk with a slight advantage, but look a little further back. Travis Hydar, car number 11, the purple and yellow machine already moved into position number 4, Bonza, and we haven't even completed the first lap.
That 11 car has won the last 2 features. He's won 6 races this year out of 9. Jeff Aslan locked the front brakes up, almost got into Haidar, and then got tapped from behind by Cody. Aslan hung on to it but lost a lot of ground as Raymond looks for second on Warren.
Raymond doing a fine job. He's improved each and every time out. Meanwhile, moving from the high line to the inside lane, it is Travis Haidar. Haidar makes his presence known, moves to the bottom, up to 3, car number 11. Good challenge there, but up front, a bid for the lead, still starting to develop. Warren can reel him in, but Chris Danielchuk is the leader of the pack off turn number 4, back to the stripe. 5 is the magic number here.
And there's 2 laps to go for Danielchuk, who tied his season best finish last Friday with the 7th place effort. Warren is right there, but he's got a lot of pressure from behind in the form of Travis Haidar. The top 3 are bumper to bumper, a lap and a half to go. They're in a good spot. They're in the handicap. I don't know how much they want to push it with 1 lap to go.
It doesn't seem like anybody is saving anything. Travis Haidar saw some daylight beneath Warren. Down to the bottom of turn number 1. Haidar is still there. Warren digs in hard in the outside lane. Chris Danielchuk in a zone of his own. Story for second. Different deal coming back off turn number 4.
Haidar takes the 2nd spot as they come off the final corner. Chris Danielchuk will take the 2nd street stock heat. Haidar 2nd as I mentioned. Brandon Warren 3rd. Jason Raymond 4th. Jeff Aslan 5th. They qualify via the handicap, while Bill Cody and Nick Ulrich round out the 7-car field as we prepare for the late models.
Well, we sure do. The late model division, good field of cars as well, with 19 cars assembled in the paddock area, and car number 20 will bring the field to green in the first late model qualifying event, the Litchfield County Marine sponsored car. From Morris, Connecticut, P.J. Zarella.
Outside of row 1 is the Safeco Foam 12 machine. From Hamden, Massachusetts, it's Alexandra Fern.
Inside row number 2, car number 07, the Tom O'Sullivan welding machine. From Belchertown, Massachusetts, the 07 of Chris Buffoni.
Starting in 4th is the A6A Associates Tri-State Elevator and Hoist number 9 from Naugatuck, Connecticut, Bobby Sturck III.
Starting position number 5 is car number 10. The Springfield Thunderbirds are the sponsor of the PTG Enterprises car. From Fairfield, Connecticut, car number 10, Wayne Corey Jr.
Starting 6th is the Tavern on the Tracks 39 from Berlin, Connecticut, Paul Barrecchio Jr.
Go back to the 7th starting position. He's had a tough year. In the Meadow Motor car, number 97 from Granby, Massachusetts, it is Adam Gray.
From a guy who had a lot of bad luck to a guy who's had a lot of good luck lately, he's won the last 2 late model features, starting in 8th in the 87 Mayday oil machine from North Franklin, Connecticut, Chris Meyer.
Now we go to the Safeco Foams machine. Returning behind the wheel, it'll be Glenn Reen out of Wilbraham, Massachusetts. Reen, of course, a former champion in the late model division, comes back and sets behind the wheel of a car that is usually driven by Josh Wood. Unfortunately, he is unable to make it to tonight's program, giving Reen the opportunity to be back in action in the full-body late model division.
Glenn Reen was fastest in 2nd practice, too, so even though he hasn't done much racing at Stafford in the late models recently, especially with just 1 start this year, that car's got some speed, but he's got a lot of work to do. We have the top 7 qualifying for the handicap, so Reen's got to get in at least to have a better starting spot, even though he's not going to start towards the front more than likely.
Sure does, and remember, the distance in this one is 8 circuits. The Raleigh's generator vehicle pulls to the center of the infield, off turn number 4. Get ready, we're about ready to fire up the late models. Back to the stripe they come, and it already appears car number 9, Bobby Sturck, was literally tapping the back bumper and to the outside, and what a bold move. That's what she's famous for in this division. Alexander Fern takes over the lead. Once in the lead, she starts to pull away. Back to the stripe they come. Car number 20, P.J. Zarella, trying to hold off the number 9 of Bobby Sturck.
Yeah, Zarella got a little bit loose coming off of 4, and they are bunched up behind him. Sturk in the 9 had a really good run last Friday, was running second when he got a bump from behind that forced him to lose several spots. He looks pretty good right now. He's trying to get under the 20, but there's nowhere to go.
Meanwhile, the car that's making some bold moves is car number 51. Glenn Reen, who started this event in the 9th position, is already up into the top 6. He's not done yet. Bafumi is in the 7th position. That's where he needs to be with car number 07. Back up to 2nd. Bid there, coming off the turn. PJ Zarella got his hands full. Sturk is all over him. And Paul Verrecchio, Mr. Consistency on the podium. He just looked and he peeks to the inside. Verrecchio down low.
Verrecchio knows how to get that run coming off the corner, and it sets up that pass in turn 3. He's leaning on Sturk's left rear coming off of 4. Both cars wiggled a bit, but they're still side by side for the 3rd spot with 4 laps to go in this heat.
Chris Myers, who's been so potent the last 2 outings in the late models here at Stafford, he's threading the needle through traffic. Car number 87 now finds a home in the 4th position. That will bump back a spot the number 9 car, of course, and that is Bobby Sturk. But here comes Glenn Reen, blue and neon orange car to the inside, down the back straightaway. Sturk gets a good run off the turn. Glenn Reen tries to make some magic on the bottom.
Reen is not bashful. Doesn't matter what he drives. He is not afraid to send it in the corner like he did right there in turn 3, and he's making it stick. He's not quite clear of Sturk yet. Now he is. He moves into the top 5, while Verrecchio looks to take 2nd away from Zarella.
Zarella did a fine job of shaking off Verrecchio, but Verrecchio isn't done yet, and here comes the number 87 of Chris Meyer. Meyer is up into the top 4. White flag is out. 1 lap to go.
Alex Fern leading the way, and she is gone. She leads by about 2 seconds as Verrecchio is still stuck behind PJ Zarella. The last spot in the handicap right now goes to Bobby Sturk, and Wayne Corey Jr. stuck outside of it. Final 2 turns, contact between Verrecchio and Zarella. Zarella hangs on. Alex Fern wins the heat. Zarella takes 2nd, Verrecchio 3rd, Chris Meyer 4th, and Glenn Reen 5th.
And the other 2 cars among the handicap, the 97 of Adam Gray is in the 6th spot, and Bobby Sturk will hold on for 7. Surprisingly enough, Wayne Corey Jr. will not make it in the handicap in 8th. Chris Buffoni struggled a bit. He will finish in the 9th spot. Coming up next, round number 2, and car number 43, already a feature event winner, the day's Cannabis Machine. From Chicopee, Massachusetts, Andrew Duran.
Outside of row 1 is the King Gray Coach Lines 92. From East Longmeadow, Massachusetts, it's Tom Fern.
2nd row to the inside, car number 4, the Square Peg Pizzeria Machine. John Butler owns the automobile. From Stafford Springs, Connecticut, the veteran Tommy Butler.
Then it's the Jarmock Farm Big Kahuna Racing 79 starting in 4th. From Enfield, Connecticut, Daryl Keene.
Then this gentleman's been turning some heads, and his twin brother. But starting 5th will be car number 14, the American Sleeve Bearing car from Stafford Springs, Connecticut, Cliff Saunders.
Then it's the second half of the Saunders duo starting in 6th in the American Sleeve Bearing 40 car from Stafford Springs. It's Al Saunders.
Let's take a look at the 4th row to the inside. He is the defending champion and a big dog running up front in the points here at Stafford. The Lavigny Law Machine from Ellington, Connecticut, car 23, Kevin Gambacorta.
Outside of row 4 is the Northeastern Sheet Metal 00 from Enfield, Connecticut. It is Scott Foster Jr.
Green Knolls Landscaping brings us the scratch starter in the event, car number 2 from Monroe, Connecticut. It is Dwayne Knoll. This is our 2nd and final qualifier in the late models. 8 laps. Again, the magic number for transfer is 7.
Now, we talked about Wayne Corey Jr. in the last heat finishing outside the handicap. That means he's going to start 15th for the feature.
That's a ways to go. The competitiveness in all of the divisions here at Stafford pretty much tell the story. So you want to be in those preferred starting spots referred to commonly as the handicap. And that is a heartbreaker for Wayne Corey tonight, but he is able to get the job done. We've seen it on many an occasion. Andrew Duran, ham chassis number 43 to the inside of Tommy Fern. Fern and Butler probably have more laps in this late model division than any two competitors in this class. Off turn number 4, with a snap of the wrist, the green comes out, and the drag race down into turn 1, it is Andrew Duran. But watch Tom Fern muscling his way to the outside. Butler sneaks in on the bottom. Darrell Keene in the BFR chassis car, threading the needle also to get to the front of the field.
Tom Fern and Tom Butler make contact off of 4. Both cars drift off the corner. Butler hung on to it, Fern hung on to it, but Fern is stuck on the outside. Cliff Saunders now goes below the 92, takes 3rd. Now Gambacorta tries to take 4th.
Gambacorta showing the true signs of a champion, picking them off one at a time, being patient, understanding where he needs to be in the comfort zone, in the handicap. Directly behind him is the number 40 machine. Al Saunders up to 5. That'll bump Tom Fern, the 92 car, back to 6, and Darrell Keene, in the blink of an eye, gets shuffled back to 7. 7th is still good, but the clock is ticking.
Keene was stuck on the outside in the opening laps. That's why he fell back from 4th to 7th. But he took 6th away from Tom Fern as they're all lined up together. Durant has the lead, but he has not pulled away. Gets tight coming off of 2. Butler gains a ton of ground and is right on the 43's back bumper.
There's no question. He kind of shadows him as they look to come off turn number 4. Make it 7 cars in a conga line as they work their magic and dance back to the line. Halfway down, halfway to go. Andrew Durant, Tom Butler. Butler tries. He comes off the turn well, but Andrew Duran, watch what happens down in turn number 3. He continues to be, well, the contender in this cat and mouse game.
3 laps to go in this heat. Butler rolls the center better than Durant, but Durant has enough coming off the corner to hold him off. Also, Durant is not an easy car to pass. He leads the way right now, and he needs some good luck. He's had some rough finishes the last 3 weeks. Behind them, outside the top 4, Keene moves to the inside of Al Saunders for 5th.
Well, Darrell Keene's found his way around after being shuffled back in the wrong lane, but now, great run. Darrell Keene moves into the top 5. He'll bump Al Saunders in the 40 back to the 6th spot. Tom Fern went from the front of the class to hold on to that final handicap preferred spot. Off turn number 4, they rumble back to the line. Andrew Duran, white flag, 1 lap to go.
Durand is a winner this year in the late model class. He won a couple times last year and one other time back in 2022. He's a 4-time late model winner. He's won over 40 races at Stafford across 3 fender divisions. He's fast and he looks good right now. He leads the field off of 4 in the final late model heat.
Here they come back to the stripe. Andrew Duran has done it, leading each and every circuit in this qualifying event. Great run for Tommy Butler in 2nd. Same can be said for Cliff Saunders in 3rd. Kevin Gambacorta, the champion, back in 4th. Darrell Keene, a good comeback for 5. Tommy Fern for 6th. And Al Saunders for 7. 2 competitors will not make it in the handicap.
That's Dwayne Knoll in the 2 and Scott Foster in the 00. So the late models have come and gone. Next up is our premier division, the fastest division, as you would say, Ben, the SK Modifieds.
They sure are, and they are guaranteed to be a thriller. And they will be coming onto the racetrack. The mighty SK Modified, Stafford's own brand of front-running, incredible competitors in the competition. And here they come off turn number 4, rumbling back to the line. Here's Bonza with the starting lineup.
Starting on the pole for the first heat is the 07 car, the Baldwin machine, driven by Jack Baldwin.
Outside, row number 1, the RJ's Plumbing and Heating machine. From Millville, Massachusetts, R.J. Marcotte.
Inside of row 2 is our 3-time defending champion in the Cooker Construction 81 from Somers, Connecticut, Todd Owen.
Dan Avery's race car, prepared by Michael O'Sullivan and Sons. From Berlin, Connecticut, car number 22, Keith Rocco.
A 3-time winner this year, starts in 5th in the 11 car, sponsored by Hummel Brothers Hot Dogs from Farmington, Connecticut, Corey DiMatteo.
Mr. Consistency is up next, car number 85. Starting 6th, the Petty Cash Motorsports Tick Mike machine. From Shelton, Connecticut, car 85, Andrew Moeller.
Starting 7th is the Jarvis Brothers Roofing 33 from Wolcott, Connecticut, Michael Jarvis Jr.
The Bowles Motors machine, the Tommy Bowles prepared race car. Car 76 starts 8th on the grid. The driver from the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour, Austin Beers.
Then it's the Mr. Rooter Plumbing number 7 from Brantford, Connecticut, starting in 9th, Jonathan Pulio.
Car number 63 will start alongside. That's David Flamia Jr. in the D&D racing car from Waterbury, Connecticut.
Inside of row number 6 is the number 96 machine from Canton, Connecticut. Brainerd Motorsports gives us Kurt Brainerd.
Keep your eyes on this talent. The Bellaheggie Farms, number 24 from Hampden, Massachusetts, Mikey Flynn. Field is set, ready to rumble. Fastest division of the night fires them up. They're about ready to unleash them off turn number 4. The ground shakes, the intensity begins.
Oh yeah, they're banging bars already. Owen and Rocco in the second row made contact on the front stretch. It's casual contact, no harm, no foul. Off of 2, Jack Baldwin on the inside. RJ Mark, trouble further back. Brainerd spins through the grass. Baldwin slides up the track in 3 and 4, while Flamia also gets collected along with Mikey Flynn.
Heartbreaking situation there for Mikey Flynn, and it appeared that Kurt Brainerd was able to get away. But David Flamia's car, you can see the black marks as literally he made some contact with the wall with the right front, was able to ride it and hold it there instead of bringing the car back down. So the first casualty of qualifying will go into the record books as David Flamia with that number 63 car from Waterbury, Connecticut, the D&D Racing Enterprises car.
Yeah, he has the window net down, so he's done for this heat. We'll see if they can get that car put back together for the feature. He's had no luck recently. He had an incident in practice a few weeks ago, if not last week. No, it was a couple weeks ago, and he didn't even make it out for the feature. And once again, before the feature even gets going, he finds trouble tonight.
You know, Jack Baldwin has been running in the SK Modifieds here at Stafford, but for the most part, unfortunately, his dad has not been able to be at the track. So Tom Baldwin Jr. tonight is here, and they felt very confident. We're looking at a replay. Look to the right of your screen.
Yeah, Flamia got loose coming off of 2, and I think Flynn and Brainerd just took evasive action to miss it.
They sure did. And Flamia, you got to give him credit. He was able to hold the car where it was instead of having it come back down across the racetrack and cause more damage to fellow competitors.
So Jack Baldwin leads in the 07. That caution was a break for him because he slid way up the track in turns 3 and 4 before the yellow came out. So he'll resume his spot up front. He's been okay this season so far. I mean, he hasn't had many reps in the SK Modifieds at Stafford. He had a couple starts last year, a couple this year. We saw Brian Narducci drive this car in the beginning half of the season.
That's correct.
So he's got to get more reps, but the Baldwin family, I mean, we know about their illustrious history in modified racing. Jack is no slouch. Luke is no slouch. That's the next generation, and they're not afraid to be aggressive, but it also leads to success.
It sure does, and they say it's not blood in their veins, it's oil. They were brought up around racing, and it shows. RJ Marcotte, the youngster that raced in the Legends cars, came up from quarter midget racing. His dad was a front runner at Thompson Speedway in the old Thompson modified division. He is getting adjusted. The good folks from Northeast Race Cars and Shane and company working with him, they have been instrumental in working also
with Troy Talman.
Yes, and Troy Talman has really become one of the cars to beat in 2024 here at Stafford. 2x2 ready, repeat, rinse and repeat. We're about ready to get them fired back up. A lot of the heavy favorites in this one who haven't had a lot of luck. They include Keith Rocco, Todd Owen, Corey DiMatteo. Here we come.
We're back underway. DiMatteo did not get a good restart, lost a little bit of ground as they raced 2x2 into 1. Baldwin down low, Marcotte up top once again as they come off of 2, and they are still neck and neck while Rocco comes in and gives Marcotte a push on the outside.
Well, it appears they are doubled up all the way back to the bottom of the top 8. Off the turn, Marcotte and Baldwin come together like two cymbals in an orchestra. Off the turn, they rumble back to the stripe, It's good racing up front. Here comes Todd Owen. He's showing why he is a former champion. He makes his presence known. Muscles his way to the inside. Bonza, and right there, the inside lane, all of a sudden comes to life.
Both lanes are pretty even right now, and Owen is kind of stuck behind Jack Baldwin. He ekes out ahead of Marcotte, but then has to check up for the 07 in the corners. Marcotte again staying strong up top. He's got Rocco behind him as well as Andrew Moeller. They're still 2x2. It's like a full-speed pace lap.
Sure are. It's unbelievable, the side-by-side competition. This is what the race fans come to know and see, whether they're watching on Flo or sitting here in the grandstand. Marquette tries to shake off Owen again. Here comes Keith Rocco in the upper groove, looking for some space that almost doesn't exist.
Whoa,
Marcotte got loose.
Yeah, he got big time loose entering the corner. He made a nice save, and now Rocco is just shoving him. Now he moves to the bottom. Marcotte's not giving Rocco much room. It's just enough room, and Rocco's going to fill the hole.
What a nice move from the outside to the inside. Keith Rocco said earlier in the paddock area, they think they found something. It appears that something is there. The magic might be back, and Rocco moves into second.
Owen gets into Marcotte, and Marcotte goes for a spin. Kurt Brainerd locks it down and also goes around.
Amazingly enough, everybody was able to get around, but the caution flag comes out. R.J. Marcotte gets it fired back up. A day late and $1 short. 6 of the 8 laps are all but gone in this event. Jack Baldwin is going to have one of Stafford's all-time great drivers in the front row in Keith Rocco.
No pressure.
Nope. And then look at row number 2. Mr. Consistency, Andrew Moeller, the 85, the JJ prepared car, and Todd Owen, the defending champion, to the outside. Corey DiMatteo, Michael Jervis, Jonathan Pulio is in the 7th spot.
With a different car, by the way. He is driving a black number 7. Oh, and Todd Owen has been penalized, by the way, for the contact with R.J. Marcotte, so he'll go to the back of the field.
So it appears that Owen's car will drop to the rear of the field. So he has got to come forward to be among those top 7 position. And he is one of those drivers, when you talk to him in the pit area, he emphasizes the point that the handicap is the most important part of qualifying. If you're not in the handicap, you're really in a, well, he calls it the danger zone.
Well, you ask any of these drivers, the first 3 to 5 laps of an SK modified feature are insane. It's crazy to watch from outside the car, but when you look at the in-car perspectives and such, I mean, it just looks like pure mayhem, controlled mayhem. I don't know how they do it because they'll be 2x2 bumping each other. Let's take a look at what happened. You can see Owen tried to dive it in there. Marcotte was making his entry, and Owen got into Marcotte.
Yes, and everybody scrambled. Somehow, they were all able to get by. Kurt Brainerd spun to avoid. He'll go to the back of the pack with Marcotte and Brainerd.
Now, you were talking about Moeller. He was stuck for the first 5 laps of that heat. But then a door opened, and he went from 6th to 3rd like that. That is the MO of that 85 team.
It certainly is. And JJ and company, last week, they had a situation that a component in the front suspension, they made the wrong choice. Well, it was the right choice, but they picked up the wrong part, and that cost them a bit. But if you were here last Friday night, you wouldn't say it cost them a lot because they still continue to be a dominant car. Speaking of dominance, here we go, back to green.
Baldwin on the inside gets a push from Moeller. Rocco's been doing a good job working the top. We'll see if he can keep that going. Oh, Baldwin pushes up right in front of Rocco. Rocco has to check up, and that opens the door for Moeller.
There's no question about it. Moeller saw daylight, steps on the gas. It is the petty cash machine making some noise. Moeller takes over position number 1. Meanwhile, tension shifts back to the 2nd spot. And of course, position number 7. Black and white is waving. Andrew Moeller will take down the win, but who's going to be the man in 2nd? By a wire. It was Michael Jervis to finish in second. Jack Baldwin held on for third. Austin Beers up to fourth. Keith Rocco in 5. Corey DiMatteo in 6th. And the very important 7th spot goes to Jonathan Pulio, who does not make it in the handicap, Bonza.
A couple notable names. First, we have R.J. Marcotte, who finished 8th. Mikey Flynn, who's been solid all year, finished 9th. Todd Owen, after the black flag, could only muster 10th. Kurt Brainerd finished 11th, while David Flamia Jr. did not even make it past lap 1 before crashing. So that means Todd Owen, who finished in 10th, will have to start 19th for the feature, while Mikey Flynn has to start 17th.
And that's a show to watch all by itself. Round number 2, car number 16 at the point, the Stir Right Tires and Auto Machine. From East Longmeadow, Massachusetts, the 16 of Dylan Kopeck.
Starting second is the Prucker Motorsports number 23 from right here in Stafford. It's Wesley Prucker.
Car number 25 is up next, the Fowler's Auto Wrecking Machine. Todd Owen owns the car from East Hampton, Connecticut. Anthony Flannery.
Outside the second row is the Wheelers Auto Service 88 from North Haven, Connecticut, Marcello Refrano.
In the 5th starting spot. This young man's been doing a great job. The Chapman Apartment Homes, My Three Sons, Racing number 14. From Ellington, Connecticut, Stephen Chapman.
Last week's winner starts 6th. In the Monaco Ford 75 from Stafford, Connecticut, it's David Aru.
Keep your eyes on this gentleman. 2 wins to his credit. Car number 3. Driving the Casella Waste Systems car from Oxford, Massachusetts, the 3 of Troy Talman.
This driver has been on a roll, starting in 8th in the New England Turf Esport Feeds PT Watts 82 from Wolcott, Connecticut, Michael Christopher Jr.
Car number 51 will grid 9th on the field, driving the DOJ Millworks and Machines car from Canterbury, Connecticut, Ethan DeRocher.
Then it's the Harcon Metal Finishing Specialist number 12 from Windsor, Connecticut, starting in 10th, Art Caruso.
And starting scratch, the CNC Roofing Machine from South Windsor, Connecticut, car 27, the veteran John Sandberg.
Well, we get ready for our second and final SK Modified Heat. Top 7 qualify for the handicap, with Dylan Kopeck leading the way. Kopeck is another driver who hasn't had much luck lately. He's got the speed. We've seen him run top 10, but just can't finish all the laps.
Here they come. Wesley Prucker stood on the gas and pulled away. Prucker, who's been getting better each and every time out, he's had his share of bad luck. Down the back straightaway, tapping on heaven's door. Marcello Rapano, but look out, here comes Dylan Kopeck. He takes over the lead.
That was pretty impressive. He had a bad start, Kopeck that is, and then he rolled 3 and 4 very well to move back up to the lead. Marcello Refrano is in second, and he's got a massive run. He pulls right up to Kopeck. Kopeck shuts the door and gets a bump from behind as a result.
As they come off the turn, a new player in a bid for the 3rd spot. It is car number 25. That, of course, Anthony Flannery. Flannery is overdue for success and a win here at Stafford. Side-by-side bid for the 4th and 5th position. Inside lane looks racy there. Coming off the turn, brand new player up to 4th. It is Chapman. Here comes Talman and Mike Christopher.
Talman on the inside trying to make the move on Prucker. Prucker's car is just not getting off the corner well. Up front, Refrano is pulling Kopeck on the straightaway. Kopeck's car is just not chugging on the straights, and that's allowing Refrano to reel him in.
Sure is. Halfway down, half of the event is all but history. It is still Dylan Kopeck, leader of the pack. His dad prepares and sets up the car. Here comes Marcello Refrano. Taps on the back bumper, lets him know he's there. The pride of Italy is hunted down by Anthony Flannery.
Got to be careful. Don't push the issue too much because they're in the handicap, and that's what matters in the big picture. Refrano backs off a bit in turns 1 and 2. He has a run, does not make his move, and Kopeck's not really giving a whole lot of room for Refrano on the bottom either.
They come back to the stride. Dylan Kopeck still makes the most noise at the front of the field. Marcello Refrano looks to the inside. Can't do it. Back in contention, Anthony Flannery. New players, Stephen Chapman in 4th and Troy Talman.
Refrano makes his move now under the 16 for the lead, and he's got it. And something's happened to Kopeck. That car is shut off. He almost gets drilled from behind by Ethan DeRocher. So Kopeck, the leader of the race, falls out of it with 1 lap to go, and it's Refrano out in front.
Heartbreaking situation for the young, talented driver. Off the turn, Marcello Refrano sees the black and whites. The pride of Italy will take down the win. Anthony Flannery will finish in second. Stephen Chapman to finish in third. Troy Talman, good run for fourth. Michael Christopher for 5. Wesley Pucker for 6th. And David Arute, last week's feature event winner, will finish in 7th. Who won't make the handicap?
Ethan DeRocher, John Sandberg, Art Caruso, and that car you're looking at right now, Dylan Kopak, who is stranded now after something went wrong on that car. I mean, you could see it on the straightaways. It was not accelerating that well at the end of the straights. The top end speed was not there, and Refrano would give him a bump every time down the straights. He finally made the move, and then Kopech's car just quit coming off of 4. But that's a huge break for David Arute because he was running 8th when that happened, and because of Kopech's problem, he finished 7th and got in the handicap.
Well, coming on to the Speedway, it is their night here at Stafford. Riley's Generators limited late model qualifier for the extra distance event of 30 laps. 2 qualifying rounds, one of the biggest fields we've had